Welcome back to the show, Guys Time. What's up, everyone? Zach Bryce here. I hope you enjoyed your weekend. It was a hell of a weekend for sports. You had the Detroit Tigers on. They won 2 out of 3 against the Minnesota Twins. 11.5 games up in the AL Central. They look absolutely phenomenal right now. You had that going on. The Rocket Mortgage Classic right here in the Motor City, Detroit, Michigan. That was a hell of an event yesterday. Obviously, the final round, the final day yesterday. A three-way playoff to end the series, to end the Rocket Classic. So that was absolutely phenomenal. You had UFC 317, a hell of a weekend for sports. The weather was beautiful all weekend long right here in Michigan. But we have to talk about UFC 317. I mean, you talk about a fight night. That was a hell of a fight night. I mean, we got to talk about this main event. Ilia Topuria, the new UFC lightweight champion, defeating Charles Oliveira in the first round. 2 minutes and 27 seconds. In the very first round, TKO, knocked him out cold. Beautiful right hand. It landed. Charles Oliveira flatlined. He was not getting up. Ilia Topuria making sure he became the champion that night. Showing his dominance, showing why he is the next big thing in the UFC. It was absolutely phenomenal. He moves to 17-0 as a professional in his mixed martial arts career. And he's the 10th fighter in UFC history. 10 fighters have only done this, but he is the 10th fighter in UFC history to become a 2-division champion. You know, obviously, he was the featherweight champion as well, and now he's the lightweight champion. He moved up in weight, and it didn't matter. I mean, I'm telling you, I said this last week on the podcast. If Charles Oliveira got clocked, it was going to be trouble for him. And what happened? He got absolutely flatlined. He got hit with that beautiful right hand by Ilia Topuria. It was done. It was game over. And now Ilia Topuria is the new lightweight champion. So, and that's the thing, too. We'll get to that in a little bit, but I want to go through these stats with you guys. So, yeah, 10th fighter in UFC history to become a 2-division champion. He joins Elite Company, some of the greatest fighters ever to go inside the octagon. John Jones, obviously one of the greatest of all time. Alex Pereira, an absolute beast. Amanda Nunes, she is a monster. She is a savage. Conor McGregor, obviously you can argue he changed the game. He changed the whole entire picture of the UFC. Randy Couture, one of the OGs, I guess you can call, in terms of mixed martial arts. I mean, that's an elite company that Ilia Topuria joins by becoming a 2-division champion. Absolutely phenomenal. He looked great. He didn't need a lot of time, obviously. I mean, but almost 2.5 minutes in the first round, and he became the new UFC lightweight champion. So congrats to Ilia Topuria. That was absolutely phenomenal. But then he's only the 5th undisputed lightweight champion in the last 9 years. Think about that for a second. Undisputed lightweight champion, only the 5th guy in that division in the past 9 years. And again, he joins Elite Company, Islam Makhachev, Conor McGregor once again, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Charles Oliveira, who obviously lost to Ilia Topuria. But Elite Company once again. So Ilia Topuria is definitely building his brand. He's definitely becoming, you can argue he's trying to become the face of the UFC. I mean, he's doing a pretty damn good job right now. He just got done knocking out 3 of the biggest savages ever to be in the octagon. Alexander Volkanovski, Max Holloway, and now Charles Oliveira. All 3 of those guys got knocked out by the same dude, Ilia Topuria, the new lightweight champion. I mean, Ilia Topuria is going places, man. I don't know. It's fantastic what this guy has done in a short amount of time being in the UFC. But yeah, he's the new lightweight champion, so good for him. But now we got to talk about Charles Oliveira. So Charles Oliveira, I don't know what his camp told him, but that was a horrible game plan, strategy, whatever you want to call it, against Ilia Topuria. I mean, Charles Oliveira had to reach. Use it. Throw the jab. I mean, create that distance. You do not want to box Ilia Topuria when you're this close. When you're inside, you're inside the trenches. You don't want to box Ilia Topuria when you're doing that. And he got too close and he ate a right hand. So I don't know what his camp told him. It was a horrible strategy. You have to use your reach. Use it to your advantage. He didn't do it. So you had that going on. But Charles Oliveira, since his record since losing to Islam Makachev for the vacant lightweight title way back at UFC 280, way back in 2022. He has a 2-3 record. Not the greatest, right? I mean, still has the most finishes in UFC history, most bonuses in UFC history, but he's 35 years old now. He's getting old. And it's sad because he is a great fighter. He's an exciting fighter. He's a fan favorite. I like when he fights. But I mean, I don't know if I don't know if the age is showing right now for Charles Oliveira, but it was just a horrible game plan. Ilia Topuria, a guy like that, you cannot box in the trenches. When you're this close, when you're trying to box and fight, you get away from that guy. Smaller guys have that advantage. I hate to tell you. You know, us tall guys with the long arms, yeah, use your jab. Throw that jab out there. It didn't happen. I don't know. It was confusing. It was kind of a letdown. I mean, yeah, okay, Topuria knocked him out. That was cool, but I wanted to see a 3-round, 4-round, 5th-round fight. I mean, this is supposed to be a championship fight between two of the best lightweights in the UFC, in the entire UFC. And it didn't happen like that. So Charles Oliveira, I don't know where he goes from here. Like I said, 35 years old, 2-3 record since he lost to Islam Makhachev way back at UFC 280 in 2022. I don't know where he goes. I mean, yes, obviously he's beaten some of the greatest fighters of all time, but maybe that age is still showing. It might be showing now. So, I mean, we can all agree, us fight fans, we can all agree that Ilia Topuria is running the damn show. This is the Ilia Topuria show, and we're just a part of it. We're just living in it because this guy is amazing. Another knockout victory. That's 3 straight knockouts. Like I said, 3 of the biggest savages ever in UFC history. Volkanovski, Alexander Volkanovski, Max Holloway, Charles Oliveira. Ilia Topuria knocked all 3 of those guys out. So watch out. I mean, Paddy Pimblett came in there and talked his crap. You know, did some trash talking. Be careful what you wish for. Because Ilia Topuria, he's a savage. And he proved that Saturday night. So that was the main event. Like I said, I wanted to see more. But Ilia Topuria wanted to go in there, get his belt, and get the hell out of there. And that's exactly what he did. So congrats again to Ilia Topuria. I mean, once again, showing that you are one of the greatest fighters of all time. And possibly the next face of the UFC. So you had that going on. That was the main event. That was wild. Crazy. Can't believe it. But good for Ilia Topuria. So you had that. But now, the co-main event, you had the UFC Flyweight Championship on the line. Like I said last week, 2 title fights once again for UFC 317. It was International Fight Week. You know UFC and Dana White, they're going to put some of the biggest names on the card, championship fights, and that's exactly what they did. So the co-main event, Alexandre Pantoja, the UFC Flyweight Champion, defending the title against Kai Kara France. He beat him by submission, rear naked choke. It was wild. It was crazy. I mean, hell of a performance by Pantoja, and he retained the flyweight belt as a result. So, 1 minute, 55 seconds in round number 3. Again, didn't need much time, Alexander Pantoja, that is. And as a result, this was his 5th straight title fight for Alexandre Pantoja. I mean, think about that. I mean, it's just like John Jones. I mean, he competed in like, what, 12 or 13 straight title fights? But yeah, for the flyweight division, that's absolutely phenomenal. So good for him. 5th straight title fight for Alexandre Pantoja, and he looked absolutely phenomenal. So his resume, I guess you can say, he's beating Brandon Royval. We'll get to him in a little bit because that fight with Joshua Van was fantastic. We'll get to that in a couple of seconds here. Alexandre Pantoja has beaten him. Brandon Moreno, who's a former UFC flyweight champion. Steve Erceg as well. I mean, Alexandre Pantoja. I mean, who else can this guy beat? I mean, maybe Joshua Font, maybe Brandon Royval. I mean, you guys know Brandon Royval lost, but he looked absolutely phenomenal. So you have that going on as well. But then we got to talk about Kai Kara France. This guy's 1-3 in his last 4 fights. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with that. I don't know what's going on with him. But that's not good. You know, the UFC looks at that and they're just like, that's, you're probably a fight away from getting released. I mean, if you're not showing up and performing, we got to get rid of you. This is the UFC, man. This ain't the minor leagues. This is legit. This is the real deal. You're not performing, we got to get rid of you. So, Kai Kara-France, hopefully he figures it out because he is a good fighter. He's fun. But, yeah, he got manhandled by Alexandre Pantoja. So, Alexandre Pantoja, congrats again. Retaining the UFC Flyweight Championship. That was great. Rear naked choke. That I like seeing that. So, you have that. But now we got to hop over to the best fight of the night. I mean, guys, if you missed out on this, hopefully you can watch it at another time. Maybe they'll put it on YouTube within the next couple weeks. Just watch the highlights. Or you know what? Screw that. Watch the whole damn fight because every single round. It was only a 3-round fight. And I think we got robbed of that. It should have been a 5-round fight because it would have been spectacular. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was fantastic. It was entertaining. Non-stop action from the opening bell. But 3 rounds, these two went at it. Brandon Royval versus Joshua Van. Fight of the night. One of the best fights I ever watched. It could be the fight of the year. We'll see what happens. Obviously, we got so many more events going on with UFC. But, dude, this fight was a classic brawl. I didn't see a single takedown. These guys were throwing bombs. I mean, they were throwing hands. They were throwing elbows. They were kicking each other. They were throwing knees. They were throwing sick, disgusting combos. I mean, Brandon Royval, like I said, that jab was beautiful all night, landing on Joshua Van. But Joshua Van was landing some sick combos in the clinch, close up. It was the greatest fight. It was the best fight of the night, without question. So Brandon Royval versus Joshua Van, as I mentioned, fight of the night. There's no dispute about that. And these guys are flyweights, so 125 pounds. They have gas tanks for days, and it looked like it. I mean, dude, these guys could have went 10 rounds and still would have performed at a high level. But yeah, like I said, nonstop action from the opening bell. These guys were just beating the living crap out of each other. And that's exactly what happened. Van won by unanimous decision, which I thought was kind of wild. I thought Brandon Royval won one of those 3 rounds. But maybe the judges saw something I didn't. And, kind of looking back to, yeah, maybe Van did some more damage. He landed more devastating blows. Brandon Royval was cut up pretty bad. His mouth was bleeding. But Van ate some shots, too. His face was busted up as well. But Van wins by unanimous decision. It was a hell of a fight. I mean, yeah, I give credit to Brandon Royval. He showed up, too, and he was ready to throw down. I mean, first fight ever where both fighters land 200 significant strikes. Both fighters. 2 guys landing, both of them landing 200 significant strikes in a 3-round fight. That's insane. That is a hell of a stat. That's according to MMAfighting.com. Absolutely insane that those guys landed at least 200 significant strikes on each other. Unbelievable. I thought, watching that fight, seriously, I thought someone was going to get knocked out. I mean, that was kind of like the mindset. That was the vibe I was getting, the feeling. It didn't happen, but you know what? I was not disappointed. That was a nonstop bloodfest, a brawl for the ages. That's what UFC is all about right there. That's the fights I appreciate. So thank you, Brandon Royval. Thank you, Joshua Van, for putting on one hell of a fight. Best fight of the night, without question. Probably the best fight of the year. One of the greatest fights I ever watched. So thank you guys for putting on the show. We appreciate it. I appreciate it. So you have that. Both fighters, obviously this fight won fight of the night. No debate about that. No dispute there. But they both won $50,000 bonuses. They both got $50,000 bonuses. And that's according to MMAfighting.com. And rightfully so. I mean, they put on one hell of a performance, both guys. So they deserve that money. Feed them more. Pay them that money. Give me some of that cash, man. Cash money. They both deserve it. So you had that going on. But yeah, just talking about the styles, what I saw throughout the fight, Van came in very aggressive. And like I mentioned before, he landed some great combinations. Absolutely great. Every time they got in the clinch, every time they got close together, he was throwing, hooks to the body and, shots to the head. I mean, very fast too. It was just like lightning speed. It was like ba 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 ba. I mean, crazy. He was landing like 4, 5, 6 punches in 2 seconds every time they got close. So Van was very aggressive. Combos were great. Brandon Royval, his style, like I said earlier, that jab, he was landing that jab all fight. All 3 rounds, that jab was beautiful. I wish he stick with it a little bit more. I think he should, land to the body perhaps. But that jab was beautiful. He landed every single time. Him and Van got engaged. So that was absolutely great. But yeah, it was an all-out brawl, man. It was absolutely fantastic to witness that. So you had that going on. But then the thing about Joshua Van, this was a short notice fight for him. Brandon Royval was supposed to go up against Manil Kape, and it fell through because Kape got hurt. He got injured. So Joshua Van comes in on short notice. I mean, dude, this guy just got done competing 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks earlier, he just got done competing at the previous pay-per-view, UFC 316. Remember the rematch with Murad Dvalishvili and Sean O'Malley. He comes in, he fights a savage in Brandon Royval, and he wins. He wins in a bloodbath. So, hats off to Joshua Van for taking this fight on 3 weeks' notice. Dude, a lot of fighters need at least like 6 to 9 months for a camp. This guy came into this fight 3 weeks' notice. I'll fight Brandon Royval because at that time he was the #1 ranked flyweight. He beats him. Joshua Van was ranked 12th in the division, so he's going to be skyrocketed. I wouldn't be surprised by the end of the week or sometime this week, whenever the UFC updates the rankings, if he's in the top 5 in the flyweight division. But yeah, 3 weeks notice. Like I said, he won at UFC 316 by TKO against Bruno Gustavo da Silva. That was his opponent, so I mean, good for him. I mean, hats off. That's what we like to see. But yeah, 3 weeks notice. You're going up against a savage, an absolute killer in Brandon Royval. That's absolutely phenomenal. We appreciate it. But yeah, Joshua Van, Brandon Royval, 3rd fight of the main card at UFC 317 this past Saturday. It was absolutely phenomenal. Best fight of the night. I mean, dude, it was, a bloodbath. And that's what we like to see. Just guys beating the crap out of each other. No grappling. Just, hey, we're going to throw hands and we're going to see who's the best boxer in the UFC. And that's what they did Saturday night. So, fight of the night. We'll never forget that fight. Thank you guys once again for putting on the show. That was absolutely phenomenal. But now we got to talk about the second fight on the main card. Beneil Dariush. He came in here with a 2-fight losing streak. He wins against Renato Moicano. He's on a 2-fight losing streak as of now. But yeah, Dariush, he's getting old too. He was on a 2-fight losing streak. He lost to Arman Tsarukyan and Charles Oliveira, and he got finished both times. So this victory for Beneil Dariush was huge. It was huge for his career. So congrats to Beneil Dariush. Get out of that funk. And then maybe, I don't know, the lightweight division, even to this day, it's very stacked with a lot of talent. So wherever he goes, hopefully maybe his next fight he wins, in dominant fashion. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, we got to talk about Renato Moicano, another guy who's getting old. He's 35 years old, 36. Oh yeah, 35 I do believe. He's on a 2-fight losing streak. And his loss against Dariush this past Saturday night. He lost earlier this year. Many of you know, to Islam Makhachev for the UFC lightweight championship. He got submitted. But yeah, Moicano, I don't know. It seemed like throughout this fight he was gassed. Like he got very tired at the end of the first round. The second round he was manhandled. Didn't really know what the hell he was doing. But at the same time, he was very tired. He looked very exhausted, very gassed. I don't know what that was all about. It is what it is. Fighters deal with stuff. They're human beings at the end of the day. Just like you and I. Fighters are not invincible, even though a lot of us want to put them on that pedestal, right? Because they're going in the octagon and they're getting their asses kicked, and they're kicking ass. But I don't know. It just seemed like that fight against Beneil Dariush, many times where he looked like he was gassed. So Moicano, hopefully he figures it out, because he is a good fighter. But yeah, Beneil Dariush, congrats, and Ronaldo Moicano, hopefully you figure it out, my man. I'd like to see you around for a couple more fights in the UFC. So you had that. But then the first fight of the main card was pretty good too. Peyton Talbot wins by unanimous decision against Felipe Lima, who came into this fight on a 14-fight winning streak. Lost his first professional MMA fight way back in 2015. We covered this last week. I was a senior in high school, and the number one song that year was Uptown Funk by Bruno Mars. Yeah, it's been that long since this guy lost, but then obviously he lost Saturday night. But yeah, 14-fight winning streak for Felipe Lima. He loses by unanimous decision against Peyton Talbot, who moves on to 10-1 in his UFC career. Bantamweights, so 135 pounds, going at it. And it was a great way to start off the main card. And then, Tracy Cortez, popular name in the UFC. She gets her first victory. First win since 2023, guys. 2 years since she last won a UFC fight. So good for her. She did look good. I mean, she looked fantastic. So you got to give it up for her. So maybe this is the change that she needed. Maybe now she can get on a winning streak. Maybe compete for a title. I don't know. But it's good to see Tracy Cortez back in the win column. So good for her. But yeah, this was a great pay-per-view. UFC 317. A great way to end the month of June. You got July obviously coming up. Actually, tomorrow. This is the last day of June. So UFC knows how to do it. But yeah, this was a great fight. This was a great fight card. I gave it an A-. It was great. I mean, yeah, the main event. Ilia Topuria knocking out Charles Oliveira. Yeah, knocking him out cold, may I remind you. Charles Oliveira had no idea where he was. And Ilia Topuria became the new UFC lightweight champion. So you had that. Alexandre Pantoja choking out Kai Kara France. Rear naked choke. Retained his flyweight championship. Competing in his fifth title fight. So you had that going on. And then obviously the fight of the night. Brandon Royval versus Joshua Van. I mean, those two were ready to throw down. They were ready to fight, and they did not disappoint, man. That was the fight of the night. It was absolutely beautiful. It was entertaining. I loved it. I'm sure everyone else did. That crowd was going bananas. They were losing their minds. It was awesome. So you had that. Beneil Dariush back in the win column. Ronaldo Moicano loses his second straight fight. This time he loses by unanimous decision, however. So hopefully he figures it out. And then Peyton Talbot and Felipe Lima open up the main card. Good fight. Talbot, the American, gets the upper hand, wins by unanimous decision. And then Tracy Cortez back in the win column, her first win in the UFC since 2023. You love to see it. UFC 317, guys, it was absolutely phenomenal. A- grade from the Bryce himself. But now we got to hop over to MLB, baseball, because these Detroit Tigers, I know I hype them up a lot here on the podcast. But last night, my man, Tarek Skubal. Who's stopping this guy? Please tell me, who is stopping Tarek Skubal? This guy is absolutely phenomenal. And, there's other people who are saying, Max Fried's the best pitcher in MLB. No, man. Tarek Skubal is dominating pitching. He's the best pitcher in the MLB. I don't care what anyone says. I mean, the Detroit Tigers win last night. They take 2 out of 3. Once again, that seems like a common theme for this Detroit Tigers team. I mean, they are playing. They're playing great right now. They win 2 out of 3 against the Minnesota Twins, their division rival. They move to 53-32 record on the season. That's tied for best in the MLB, right there with the LA Dodgers, because we gotta deal with those damn Dodgers, right? From the National League. But it is what it is. I'm not complaining. First place, I like it. Obviously you got the All-Star game and All-Star break coming up in a few weeks. Like I said last week here on the podcast, what are the Detroit Tigers going to do? They got to get pitching. at least one more starter and a couple good, very good relievers, because we see it in the playoffs all the time. Pitching wins you games when it matters most. So hopefully the Tigers take advantage of that. But last night, they were on Sunday Night Baseball, ESPN, prime time for these Detroit Tigers. They went 3-0 against the Minnesota Twins. Like I said, take 2 out of 3 against those Twins in the AL Central. Tarek Skubal, who's stopping this guy? As I mentioned, 7 innings pitched, 1 hit, 13 strikeouts. 13. He was on fire. He was dishing. He was cooking. He was throwing heat. Dude, to get the 13th strikeout, I mean, late in the, in the 7th inning, he threw a 100 mile per hour fastball like it was nothing. This guy is so durable. Good for him. I mean, that's insane. He moves on. He moves to 10-2 record on the season, and tied for first in all of baseball. He's amazing. I mean, how do you stop this guy? He's phenomenal. But as a result of this victory for the Detroit Tigers, they have a 11.5 games lead in the AL Central. 11.5 games. Now, I get it. We have a lot of baseball to play. So hopefully they can continue their dominance throughout the month of July, after the All-Star break, after the All-Star game. Maybe they pick up a couple good players, good pitching, good pitcher, relief pitchers, maybe one more starter at the trade deadline, MLB trade deadline, end of July 31st is the trade deadline. So hopefully maybe they can ramp up their roster, because obviously just looking at this team, they're competing. They want to compete for a World Series. I don't blame them. It's been 41 freaking years since we last won a World Series. It's been so long. We've had so many chances. Like I said last week, 2006, 2012, we were in the World Series and we just couldn't do anything. Hopefully that changes. Hopefully this year. We'll see. But Detroit Tigers are great right now. I can't complain what they've been doing. It's very exciting baseball. You love it. But so, some of the stats tonight, I know we only won 3-0, but a win's a win. Kerry Carpenter and Riley Green, both home run. Both got homers. Both went yard yesterday, so that was absolutely phenomenal to see. Kerry Carpenter got hurt, though, in the game. It looks like a hamstring injury or a calf injury. So that's very disappointing. That's very heartbreaking to see, because he's had those same issues or similar injuries in the past. Hopefully he's not out for too long, but he is a decent bat. So you have that. But Riley Green, this guy's hitting a home run, seems like every game. This guy is amazing. 10 hits total for this Detroit Tigers ball club last night. So the bats were hot, they were alive, and they were ready to go, ready to dominate. And that's exactly what they did. So Riley Green, in the month of June, this guy has 23 RBIs. 23. I mean, he's one of your guys. He's one of the best players on that Detroit Tigers squad, without question. I love Riley Green. I love what he does. But then we got to go back to Tarek Skubal. So the month of June, listen to these stats, and this is according to ESPN. 1.89 ERA, 5-0 record, undefeated in the month of June, 39 strikeouts to 7 earned runs. And that's it. 7 runs, 7 earned runs, 39 strikeouts, 5-0 record, 1.89 ERA for Tarek Skubal in the month of June. I mean, isn't that a beautiful thing? Isn't that fantastic? And then there's other people who think Max Fried is better. Yeah, you guys just keep drinking the special sauce or the Kool-Aid, whatever you want to drink. But Tarek Skubal, I mean, that guy is special. He's special. Reigning AL Cy Young Award winner, right? He won it last year. Probably going to win it this year, hopefully, if, he stays healthy and, where the Tigers are going. Hopefully he wins it again. He's a special player. 138 strikeouts. That's the best. Number one in the entire Major League Baseball. 138 strikeouts. I mean, and some people say He's not the best pitcher. Okay. You guys believe whatever you want, but Tarek Skubal's doing great. But now on the flip side, we got to talk about one particular player. No, it's not Javi Baez. It's not Javier Baez. So relax, chill out. He's actually doing pretty good this year. Not too bad. Can't complain. He's not striking out, 200 plus times a year like he's been the past few years when we signed him to that 6-year, $140 million contract at the end of 2021. I know it seems like I repeat myself when I say that, but that's kind of significant, right? But you know what? He can play second base, shortstop, center field. The guy's great, right? Defense, he's been absolutely phenomenal. Hitting wise, batting wise, can't complain. But we're not talking about that guy. The one particular guy we got to talk about, Tiger fans, you know him, Spencer Torkelson. He's been with us for a long time, former #1 draft pick in 2020. His June batting average it's horrible. .207 batting average. He has an on-base percentage, .298. Okay, not the greatest, but at the same time, not too bad. Not horrible. But his batting average is bad. 20 strikeouts. He only has 8 RBIs, guys, in the whole month of June. June's done after today. Tomorrow is the first day of July. This guy has 20 strikeouts and 8 RBIs, and that's how he finishes the month of June. What the hell is going on with Spencer Torkelson, man? I mean, he doesn't have a problem hitting solo home runs, right? But then when there's guys on base with 2 outs, he can't get those runs in. I mean, a prime example was Friday night, watching the game at my uncle's house. My uncle Greg, shout out to him. Yeah, he's a big Spencer Torkelson fan. No, he doesn't like him at all. I was completely kidding about that. But you have guys on second and third, 2 outs. You're up in the count, 2-0, 2 balls and no strikes. 2 guys on base. Guess what happened? He strikes out. He struck out. You're up 2-0 in the pitch count. 2 balls, no strikes. You have guys on second and third with 2 outs. You can't drive at least 1 run in. And you wonder why we're frustrated with Spencer Torkelson. And you wonder why he's not being sent down to the minors like Trey Sweeney was over the weekend, right? Like, where's that news coming out of? I mean, Spencer Torkelson. I mean, they got to do something with him because obviously he's not performing. Earlier in the year, he was fantastic. Batting almost 400. Scoring runs. Gain on base. But the month of June, I gave you the stats. 20 strikeouts, 8 RBIs. That's not going to cut it, Jack. Especially when we're trying to compete for a World Series. We're trying to win the division. We're trying to make it. I'm really kind of wondering what the Tigers are going to do with him. I mean, are they going to seriously keep him on the roster, or they're going to send him down to the minor leagues? At this point, send him down to the minor leagues. You have to. I mean, those June statistics are absolutely disgusting. Not in a good way. I don't know. That's painful to see. I mean, at least Tarek Skubal's doing good. I mean, yes, pitching, batting, completely different parts of the game. But Spencer Torkelson's got to do something. 1 for 4 last night too. Not good. Like get it figured out. But yeah, Tigers are on. They got a day off today. They got to go and travel to Washington and face those Washington Nationals who won 2 out of 3 against the Los Angeles Angels. So that'll be interesting. Flaherty gets the start. Very, very inconsistent. He's not my guy. He's not my favorite, but hopefully maybe tomorrow to start off the series. Set the tone early. Don't give up 5 runs in the first inning like he usually does. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. So that's Tigers baseball. They've been absolutely phenomenal, but like I said, there's a couple missing pieces, and yeah, they did get exposed at times during the season, especially this month. The pitching, it could be better. And like I said, that's why the trade deadline a month away. Get some good pitching, maybe a right-handed bat. I would prefer pitching because right-handed bats, they can come alive at any point. But pitching is where, I said this earlier, pitching is where you're going to win those series in the playoffs, those 7-game series. You got the 5-game series, the 5-game series in the wild card rounds of the MLB. Pitching is going to help you be successful. And Tigers have to take advantage of that, especially they're trying to win. I mean, it's obvious, right? They're trying to win, go to the World Series, compete for a championship. They got to figure something out. So, Detroit Tigers, 53-32, tied for best record with the LA Dodgers. They have an 11.5 game lead in the AL Central. They look good, but we got to get better. So that's Detroit Tigers baseball there. Now it's time to talk about the Rocket Mortgage Classic, or the Rocket Classic. Now it's called. They simplify it because that's kind of the thing nowadays, right? But right here in Detroit, Michigan, right in our backyard at Detroit Golf Club, Aldrich, Potgier, South African, he wins. He wins this one. A 3-guy playoff. I mean, this thing lasted a long time yesterday. The other two were Max Grayserman and Chris Kirk. So 2 Americans going up against the South African. It was a hell of a game there. Hell of a 3-round playoff, 3-guy playoff there. But yeah, what a great payout for Aldrich Potgier. $1,728,000 payout for winning that thing yesterday, for winning the Rocket Classics. And then the other 2 guys, Max Grayserman and Chris Kirk, both got $854,400. I'm not complaining. That's some sizable bank. That's pretty nice. I'm not going. I wouldn't complain. But yeah, 3-guy playoff, 3 guys tied, going into the final round, and then they had to play a couple of playoff games. I mean, crazy, dude. But yeah, that's the Rocket Classic right here in Detroit, Michigan. Started in 2019. So it's been here for a few years now. And, obviously these are some guys I'd never heard of before, but there were some notable golfers competing. Colin Morikawa, Hideki Matsuyama. As you guys remember, he won the Masters way back in 2021. I can't believe it's been that long. I mean, damn, 4 years ago. Flew by, man. But some big names, not a whole lot, but some big names on this competing at the Rocket Classic yesterday or throughout 4 days. Started on Thursday, ended yesterday. Obviously, Aldrich Potgier wins, and he got paid some big money for it. But you guys remember Hideki Matsuyama. Obviously, he was the first Japanese male golfer to win a major. So that's pretty phenomenal. But yeah, the Rocket Classic, man. I heard something that they're going to push the date going to August, which, that's right around the time where the Open, I think, is over with. And, the scheduling, I don't know if big names are going to want to compete, all that traveling. Because the Open, I do believe, is in Europe, overseas. And, now they're going to come to Detroit, Michigan and do another PGA Tour event. I don't know. That's pretty wild. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Maybe they'll stick with the dates, that they've been doing, or might move it to August. We'll see. But yeah, the Rocket Classic right here in Detroit, Michigan. Phenomenal, great event for, just the state of Michigan, trying to open up golfing opportunities. I mean, I've been living in Michigan all my life. There's millions of golf courses around this state. It's absolutely beautiful. I think it's pretty interesting too that we have that, that opportunity to go to all these golf outings, or we have all these golf outings. I think that's what separates us from all the other 49 states here in the United States of America. But they're trying to open up golf. They're trying to make Detroit a golf city. And then trying to make Michigan a golf state. I mean, you guys know, if you live in Michigan, there's millions of them around here. But yeah, great event. It's fun. It's exciting. But yeah, Aldrich Potgier, remember that name. He wins the Rocket Classic in the 3-guy playoff. yesterday. Great event. I watched a little bit of it throughout the weekend. I watched most of it yesterday. It was fun to watch. So you have that going on. So congrats to Aldrich Potgier. You deserve it. Enjoy the over $1 million payout. And yeah, that was a great event. So that's golf. That's the Rocket Classic right here in Detroit, Michigan. Staying on Detroit, we got to talk about these Detroit Red Wings. They actually made a great move. I know, Steve Yzerman actually did something, right? Oh my goodness. I mean, what? Steve Yzerman actually made a decision. He actually made a trade. He actually picked up somebody that we actually needed. Crazy, right? He signed goaltender from the Anaheim Ducks, John Gibson, over the weekend for Peter Mrazek and 2 draft picks. So Peter Mrazek, he came back. You know, he was with us for a long time, and he's been bouncing around the league. He's with the Anaheim Ducks now. But we got John Gibson, and let me tell you, great move by Steve Yzerman. 506 games in his career, 2.89 goals against average. He has a 91% save percentage. That's phenomenal. That's what we need, because last year we had 5 goalies. Let's stick with the one consistent goalie who can play 40-plus games a year and be dominant and be reliable, and then we might be in the playoffs. We'll see. I don't know. It's been 9 years since we touched or seen playoffs, but we'll see what happens with this edition of John Gibson. But yeah, John Gibson, 40-plus games in most of his full seasons. He had an emergency appendectomy last season, and that's going to mlive.com. So, but kind of durable with the exception of the appendectomy. But before that, he was really reliable. 40-plus games in most of his full seasons being with the Anaheim Ducks. And like I said, the Detroit Red Wings, they need a solid presence at the goalie position, because like I said, when you're going with 5 goalies, we had Cam Talbot, we had Alex Lyon, we had Sebastian Cossa, we had Ville Husso, and then we had Peter Mrazek for a little bit. 5 damn goalies this past season. We gotta have one. John Gibson, he's the guy. So that's really good that Steve Yzerman recognized that, and now hopefully maybe we can compete. We can win games next year. Hopefully we can make it to the playoffs. I mean, get it. I understand everyone's got to stay healthy, but when I saw this on social media this past weekend, I clapped, because about time Steve Yzerman did something. You've been here, 7 years now? Yeah, 7 years, going on 7 years. You came in 2019 to be the general manager, and now you made a significant move. So good. You addressed the goaltending issue, but now we got to get some defense, because our defense is god-awful, and it's been awful for years. So we'll see what happens with that. So last season for John Gibson, he had a .911 save percentage in 29 games. Obviously, he was hurt with the appendectomy, the emergency appendectomy. You had that going on. But Detroit Red Wings goalie stats from last season. This is according to ESPN.com. .896 save percentage, not the greatest. Goals against, they gave up 259 goals through 5 goalies. 5 damn goalies gave up 259 goals. Well, that's why you don't go with 5 goalies. You have 1, maybe 2. But John Gibson, hopefully he comes back healthy. Hopefully he can play 40-plus games, because obviously there's 82 games in the regular season, and maybe hopefully the John Gibson can play most of the season. But yeah, that's crazy. Between 5 goalies, you gave up 259 goals, and you have a save percentage of .896. Yeah, not the greatest. Not the greatest. And then Gibson, throughout his career, with the Ducks from 2014 to 2019, this is according to the New York Times, he had a save percentage of .921. Phenomenal. Through 236 games. He's 32 years old, so he's still kind of young. He's not old for goaltending purposes, but that was a hell of a move by Steve Yzerman. So I tip my hat, my imaginary hat. Usually I have my Tigers hat, but not today. Forgot about that. But tip my hat to Steve Yzerman making that move. Hopefully it works out. So yeah, that going on. And then the NHL draft last week, we the Red Wings with the 13th pick, first rounder, Carter Bear. Yeah, that's his name, Carter Bear. Hell of a name. You already know he's gonna be a stud, right? Yeah, hold on. Let's put on the brakes a little bit. Let's don't get too excited. Let's don't get our hopes up. I just really thought the name was actually pretty impressive. Carter Bear. I mean, you won't forget that name, right? He had a partially torn Achilles though this past March. I think a skate hit the tendon. So injuries kind of sucks a little bit, but you know what? They weren't afraid. They drafted him regardless. He played for the WHL Everett team. He had 40 goals at 82 points last year. In his injury-plagued year, he still had 82 points. So that's good. And he's young, obviously, 18 years old. Carter Bear's a sweet name. But, yeah, 82 points, 40 goals, despite having that partially torn Achilles injury. So he had that. He played for the Everett Silvertips, last year, 2023 through 2025. And this is all from the Detroit Red Wings website. But, yeah, that's phenomenal. So, yeah, hopefully he works out. Hopefully he stands out. The John Gibson pickup was absolutely phenomenal. So, again, congrats to Steve Eisman. Like I said, bravo, buddy. Took you 7 years to make a decent trade, but you did it. So you have that going on. But, yeah, Detroit Red Wings. I mean, nine straight years, no playoff appearances. Let's try to change that going into next year. So that's Detroit Red Wings. Phenomenal. You love to see it. But, yeah, hopefully they do well. But now we end this podcast today. I have exciting news. All you fight fans, this is specifically boxing, not UFC. Boxing fans all around, especially here in the state of Michigan. My man, Kahmel Makled. It's official. I mean, I'm not going to get in trouble for saying this. It is official. Signed on the dotted line. It is legit. July 26th, a month away, less than a month away. My man, Kahmel Makled, he's going to compete in his third pro fight at Little Caesars Arena. Isn't that fantastic? Isn't that awesome? His third professional fight as a boxer. He's going to be competing inside a huge venue at the LCA, Little Caesars Arena, in downtown Detroit, Michigan. So he's going to be on the same card as Claressa Shields, Flint, Michigan's own Claressa Shields, the GOAT, the greatest woman of all time, has won 5 championships, or she's won championships in 5 different weight classes. I mean, that's unbelievable. She's undefeated, 16-0. She's going up against 2 division champion and Laney Daniels from Australia. So this is going to be a hell of a fight card. But my man Kahmel Makled is going to be on the same card as Claressa Shields, the GOAT herself. I mean, that's absolutely phenomenal. So congrats, Kahmel. You deserve it. Claressa Shields and Laney Daniels are going to compete for the Undisputed Heavyweight Championship. So that's going to be phenomenal. And then Kahmel Makled is going to be on this card. So get your tickets now. Do it right now. If you don't know his socials, he's on Instagram, he's on Facebook, he's on TikTok. Message him. Get those damn tickets. We want to sell out LCA. We want to get so much support for Kahmel Makled because he deserves it. Shout out to New Way Training Center out in Clinton Township, Michigan, Hall Road there, past Grossbeck on the east side. He deserves it. He deserves all the support. I mean, this guy he's a beast. He trains his ass off, and he has 2 knockout victories already. So try and make it 3-0 on the big stage this time. Little Caesars Arena, Detroit, Michigan. It's going to be phenomenal. I can't wait. The Brides is going to be there. I don't miss a Kahmel Makled fight. If you miss a Kahmel Makled fight, there's something wrong with you. Get your ass there or watch it on the Zone. It's going to be live on the Zone. So subscribe to that. You don't want to miss this fight with Kahmel Makled. But yeah, it's official, guys. He's been waiting for a long time. To get this moment, to have this moment, and he's going to compete at the big stage. So congrats to Kahmel. Shout out to him, his entire team. You guys deserve this. This is going to be fun. This is going to be exciting. But yes, again, July 26th. that's going to be the day where Kahmel Makled, I think, makes a name for himself, if he hasn't already. But to compete at Little Caesar Arena, bravo, my friend. You deserve it. So, Kahmel Makled competing in his third pro fight at LCA, Little Caesar Arena, downtown Detroit. Same card as Claressa Shields, her undisputed heavyweight title fight against Laney Daniels. That's going to be a hell of a fight as well. Get your tickets, July 26th. He's on Instagram, like I said, Facebook. And if you can't make it to the fight, watch it on the Zone. Kahmel Makled, remember the name. He's going to do great things in boxing, like I said numerous times. But Kahmel Makled, don't forget that name. That's all I'm going to say. And then I want to shout out to my boy Flint. We watched those UFC fights this past weekend. So shout out to him. It was fun getting to know him. Him and I were just watching fights all night. We enjoyed ourselves. We watched UFC 317 fights on the main card. So shout out to Flint. Very interesting name. I like the name. But yeah, cool guy all around. So yeah, shout out to him. I forgot to give him a shout out when I was talking about the UFC 317 main card fights. But save the best for last, right? So shout out to Flint. That was a fun time. But Kahmel Makled, like I said, get your damn tickets. You know how to reach them. I mean, we all have smartphones. Don't be lazy. Get your asses there. LCA. Get there early because you know parking is going to be absolutely disgusting and horrible and frustrating, right? Because it's Detroit. But yeah, get your asses at LCA, Little Caesar Arena. Kahmel Makled, my boy, my man. His third pro fight. It's going to be phenomenal. Same fight card as Claressa Shields and Laney Daniels. July 26th, downtown Detroit, Michigan. And it's going to be phenomenal. And if you don't go to the fight, watch it on the Zone. But Kahmel Makled, man, he's going to do great things. So, with that being said, I'm done. So, thank you again for joining me on this edition of Guys Time. We had a lot to go over, lots of fights, a lot of fight news. We had the Detroit Tigers Rocket Mortgage Classic, or the Rocket Classic, excuse me. You had Detroit Red Wings news. I know we don't really talk about them that much because they're frustrating. But Steve Yzerman made a hell of a trade this past weekend. So, good for him. And then, obviously, Kahmel Makled. My guy, my dude. Shout out to him. Like I said, he deserves this. And we, everyone, his friends, his family, the New Way family, the New Way Training Center family. We got to get everyone down there. I want to see everybody down there and supporting my guy, Kahmel Makled, because he deserves it. Third pro fight, LCA, downtown Detroit, July 26th. Get your tickets. And if you don't go to the fight, watch it on the Zone. And obviously, you guys know this episode is going to be available, as always, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. And, it's Monday. Enjoy the day. It's going to be a great week. We got 4th of July. I said I was going to wear my 4th of July shirt for this episode, but I will post a video throughout the week. You'll check it out. I'll wear it then. You can check it out. But the 4th of July this week as well. Shout out to my brother. His birthday, Thursday, July 3rd. So, happy early birthday to my brother, Leon. And then, 4th of July. Happy 4th of July. Stay safe out there. Enjoy the day. Spend time with your friends and family. And show off the red, white, and blue, baby. It's going to be a great weekend. So, Monday, we got to handle business. But rest of the week, we'll get ready for 4th of July. So, take care, guys. Happy 4th of July. Early 4th of July. Episode's going to be available. You guys are always amazing, but the prize has to go. So take care, guys, and stay safe out there.